Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Drunken Gamer, where we go over recent happenings in the video game industry. I'm your host, Mike. We got a good show for you today. Now, last week, we had an entire episode dedicated to the PS4 reveal, because, quite frankly, there was a lot to go over. Those kind of episodes I'm going to try to keep few and far between and save them for really big events like that. Today's going to be a bit more back to norms, so we should be having a good time here. And for my weekly liquor choice, I'm having this German beer that's been sitting in the upstairs fridge for maybe 4 fucking months or something, because no one in the house wanted to try it because they're too afraid of what it is. It's like smoked beer. Okay, original Schlinkerla smoked beer. See, this is like legitimate German. I can't even pronounce this. It's like Rochbier. I hope any Germans that are watching this aren't offended by my slaughtering of the German language. But yeah, it's very heavily smoked. Like, ugh. Yeah, you can almost literally taste the smoke. It's very, very potent stuff. And it's a whole pint of this stuff, too. It's like, I can see why everyone's been afraid to try it. Alright, now, in the week that we kind of spent focusing on the PlayStation 4, we were missing out on, well, every other story that was happening. There were some things went down, other things weren't so important, and some things just make me kind of raise an eyebrow and question just where humanity is at exactly. For example, Connecticut. Lately, we've been discussing some pretty bullshit legislation regarding video games coming from the eastern side of the country, and this is in comparison to the bullshit legislation that we had on the west coast. So, what the fuck are they doing this time? Let's see. We got an article on Polygon saying Connecticut is trying to pass some form of legislation. Wait, hold on. Legislation that prevents minors from playing light gun games? Publicly? What the flying actual fuck?
You tiny-brained whappers of other people's bottoms!
Okay. So apparently State Senator Tony Nathaniel Harp proposed this legislation that's supposed to prevent minors from using violent point-and-shoot games in public arcades, essentially making it illegal for minors to be playing any game that uses a facsimile of a firearm, meaning light guns. So, yeah. They are proposing a law that essentially makes it illegal for minors to play video games. Okay, let's do the one thing that Connecticut politicians are not doing right now, and think about this whole thing. What they are essentially doing is to block minors from playing any game that has any kind of light gun peripheral, mostly because they're designed to be kind of shaped like actual guns. Now, keep in mind that not all arcade games that do have light guns are even that violent. I mean, what the fuck do they think about Big Buck Safari? Or Happy Circus Shooting Game? Or even the Point Blank series of arcade games? All of these are titles that aren't even violent, but still use light guns to operate. And what about the more mainstream cabinets? How many of you guys remember wasting quarters on classics like Terminator 2, Area 51, Time Crisis, even House of the Dead? None of these are that violent at all. In fact, they're more cartoony than violent, especially in the case of House of the Dead. I mean, just look at those zombies. I mean, these are games played in public spaces all the time by people of all ages. I've been playing these kinds of games since I was old enough to even hold a fucking controller, and you don't see me going around like a homicidal maniac shooting things up. Here's one other thing that doesn't make a lick of sense here. They want to make it illegal for minors to play light gun games. Well, apparently it isn't illegal for minors to shoot actual fucking guns, as evidenced by this little girl who could probably kick the shit out of Jill Valentine in a quick draw contest. And I'm talking old school Jill here, not the new blonde bimbo in a skin-tight bodysuit that somehow learned how to do Bang Shishigami's Furun Kazan. There's also the rather convenient fact that Connecticut's politicians seem to keep forgetting that such laws blatantly violate the First Amendment rights that video games now have. Seriously, did no one get the memo from California a couple of years back regarding this? Now, despite the obvious, Harp insists on plugging this idiotic legislation, saying that she believes violent games destigmatize and desensitize children to gun violence, and that public safety should be put ahead of children's rights to play video games, and that there's no doubt in my mind these games can put real people at risk again in the future. So, you heard it here first, folks. Light guns are even more dangerous than real guns. Why do you think our military has been secretly investing in mass-producing light guns for use in the war on terror? They're cheap, easy to make, and they come with infinite ammunition. All you have to do is shake the controller or shoot to your side, and your clip fills up automatically. Technology! As strong as this stuff is, it really helps with this kind of stuff. Moving on to other subjects. Skullgirls!
Skullgirls!
Recently, Lab Zero, comprised of the original development team behind the game, showed off their progress on the first DLC character, Squiggly. And oh my fucking god, she is adorable. Now, the only problem here is that because the team was essentially fired from their previous employer because legal issues that they've been going through, they're scrapped for cash needed to finish her. Hence, why they started a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo in order to raise the money needed to finish her. Now, Skullgirls is a fairly niche game, albeit a damn good one if you're willing to look past all the blatant fan service. So, one would think that, hey, a game like this with a small following probably won't get a whole lot of donations, right? Think again, as Lab Zero was able to acquire the necessary funds from donors within 24 hours of posting the drive. That's $150,000 to develop Squiggly raised in a single day. Holy fucking shit. So now, this means that not only will Squiggly be able to be finished within 2.5 months from now, maybe even sooner if we're lucky, but she will also be released for free for a limited time. Yeah, free character DLC. How can you not agree with that? Of course, they're not stopping there, since there's still a whole month left in the drive, and the donations are steadily pouring in. The next step is to raise enough funds to help Lab Zero to begin production on the first male character to be added to the roster, Big Band, whose target is at $375,000. I think the chances of this happening are fairly high, as at the time of recording, this drive is either close to $250 or already past it and still going. I'm not even going to try to give it an exact number since it just keeps changing every time I load the damn page. Now, how did they get so much money in so little time? A combination of things. A devoted fan base, the incentive of a free DLC character, and of course TF2 hats. Gotta get them hats. Now, really, I would like to see this game continue to be supported, and Skullgirls is fun to play. It's unique, and if you look past all the cheesy fan service, there's a really deep and intricate fighter in there because it's made by people who understand fighting games. I mean, Mike Z is a professional fighting gamer. He's been on Marvel 2, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue. He knows this shit, and that is why this game works so well. Of course, that's also why Sarabella is so fucking good in that game, but that's besides the point. There's a lot of... Please, if you have any spare money, please donate to this cause, because I would really love to see this game continue to be supported, and there's a lot of good stuff going. There's a lot of incentives going, besides the TF2 hat, that is, and it's supporting a game whose developers are really down on their luck after being treated like shit by their last employers. Please donate to these guys if you have any spare cash whatsoever. They'll really appreciate your help. With that, that will be the end of today's episode. Remember to like us on Facebook for notices and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date when new episodes go up. Until next time, I'm Mike the Drunken Gamer, signing off.